why your emotions are holding you back. And you might ask why I have this picture right here. This just exhibits you, sad one week, happy one week, conscious living one week, unconscious living the next. You're in this identity loop, trying to break free, trying to make it to the next level, but you just can't seem to get the emotion part right. You got everything going for yourself. You're doing everything right. You got the system, structure, etc. But your emotions are causing you to not reach that next level, and we're gonna get to that. So let me go ahead and get to our first point. By the way, I hope you're doing all right. Hope you're doing good. I post once a week, so it's been 7 days. I know it's been a long time since you've seen me, so I'm glad to see you all. Let's get into it. People don't understand what emotions actually are. Emotion, so the root word, the etymology of emotion comes from the Latin word emovere, which means to disturb. So emotions actually just mean disturbance. So this is what it is. An emotion, and this is my own definition, equals a disturbance in reality. And you might be like, what does that mean? Like, how is an emotion a disturbance in my reality? I'm glad you asked. Emotion is quite literally the language of the universe. Emotion is the interface of your, or between you and your desired reality. So the language of the universe. In every moment, you're speaking to the universe. You're telling it what you want. You're telling it how you want to live. What do you want to perceive? What do you want out of life? All through your emotions. You don't have to verbally say it. The heart is very powerful. That's why the Bible says, above all else, guard the heart. It doesn't just mean romantically, like, just watch who you hang with, watch who you romanticize. It's not about relationships. It's about emotion. Watch what you give emotion to, because that will charge your reality with that thing that you're indulging the emotions in. So emotion is just the language of the universe. And this language has the ability to disturb your reality positively or negatively. So this can have a positive charge or a negative charge. Why emotion might be holding you back is because you may be in a cycle of emitting negative emotions in the universe. So you may be a type of person who has self-doubt unconsciously. Maybe you feel like you're a burden unconsciously due to trauma, due to negative emotional experiences, which we'll get to later. Maybe you've been unconsciously emotionally unavailable if you are wanting to desire a new relationship or a non-toxic relationship. Maybe you have these things that you're unconscious about, that you're putting emotional energy into, that you don't even know about. And this is why you keep going into these loops of negativity. So we understand emotion is the interface. It is the language of the universe. It's how we talk with God through emotion. That's how we get blessings. When we're grateful, when we're happy, when we're joyous, thankful, wholesome, feeling whole within, we get granted blessings. That's why life seems to go our way when we're feeling good inside. So emotion is the language of the universe, right? And right now, you have to switch from negative emotions to positive emotions. And also you have to dissolve past negative emotions. So first, we'll cover ending the cyclical negative emotions in the present. So emotions create this loop of perception, reality, right? And for example, if you're on the road, you're doing traffic, you're trying to get to work, you're late, you run into somebody, you get in a car wreck. Literally, your whole day might just be fucked after that. And it's natural as it is. That's just how emotions work. Like your day might be fucked, And then maybe at work, when you get there, everything just pisses you off. You just start noticing things that just rub you the wrong way. Is it your fault? Yes and no. You know, how you react to things is the most important thing that matters in life. Because you can end that loop when you react the right way. So you might be in an identity loop. Identity loop. So for instance, you get up early, you miss your alarm, you're driving to work late. Because of that, that's a negative experience. If you attach to that experience and you just feel that shit so deeply, you just let that linger in your soul, you will literally start to perceive things that affirm how you're feeling. So you're late for work, you know, you're mad, you're late, time ticking or whatever. I don't know, that's a clock. Time ticking. You go to work with that same type of energy. And now look, your boss says something, just trying to see how you're doing, and you snap on him because of that energy. Because that's what you're perceiving. You're perceiving that is aligned with the energy that you emit. So to break an identity loop, you must be aware of the emotion that you're emitting so that you can break that cycle, so you don't charge your life with negative emotion. If that's something that you're doing, please take time before you react. Take a deep breath, exhale, and be above the reaction so you can exit this identity loop. You want to exit this loop so you can take control of your life and go back to being happy. So this is how you end negative experiences in the present. Just be mindful, be aware of the energy that you're giving out to the world so you don't get that energy back in return. This is very important because this is like a day-to-day. It's something that you can implement tomorrow. It's something that you can implement right now. How to build the skill of exiting your identity loop is quite easy. It just takes dedication and discipline. So, meditation, prayer. Honestly, these are the two things this is all you need, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. To break an identity loop, to break negative emotions, you need to rise above those emotions. Meditate, become aware. Let that emotion go through your body. Feel it deeply. Don't cut it off. Don't cut it off. Understand it. Experience it and let it go. Do not react. Do not react. So prayer is how you slow down. Meditation is how you slow down and be aware. So these two things are the main thing that you can do right now to enhance your skill of breaking these identity loops, breaking these emotional loops, these ups and downs. Like, you don't have to go through a low. You can go through lows, but how you react just makes it that much easier to go through. You know? Because if you don't break these emotional loops, they just compound with interest, negative interest in this case. You know, just a bunch of negative shit just compounding in your life. You don't want that. You want to let things go. So how you react in the present is very important. You don't want to add more things to your life because you already have a lot in the past, which we'll get to right now, actually. So we know how to cut off these loops of negative emotions in the present. Awareness, meditation, prayer. But some of you may have these things called trauma. You know, everyone talks about trauma. Trauma is quite simply just negative emotions or negative observations. You know, trauma is negative emotional experiences slash observations. So anything that you've seen or experienced that was negative in nature, that affected you here. These things we call trauma are stuck in our body. Don Eckhart in The Power of Now, he says, they're stuck in our pain body. Our body holds pain that we must dissolve to move forward in life. There are things that you may not even be aware of that you're holding on to emotionally that you must let go of to reach your next level. Right? So let me give you an example of trauma. So for example, if you grew up in a household where money was tight, you know what I'm saying? Niggas know money was tight. You every time there's conversations around money, it was like, oh, we don't have enough. Mom and dad arguing about money. You gotta warm up your you know what I'm saying? You gotta warm water in the microwave instead of the stove. You can't warm up water on the stove because the stove don't work. You gotta microwave that junk. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Y'all, those who know, I know. So those negative experiences cause an emotional imprint. So, for example, if you're one who wants to increase your money, your revenue, you know what I'm saying? You want to get more money. You over here praying for money. But to you, with all the experience that you had in the past pertaining to money, money is pain. Money is scarce. Money is more money, more problems. You know what niggas say? That bullshit. They say more money, more problems. This is what the body sees as money. So you're over here trying to manifest money, but in reality, you're just gonna manifest this shit right here. Because the body keeps the score. And the emotion that you take within is the emotion that you emit. So if your emotional definition of money is pain, scarcity, and problems, if you want more money, if you're trying to manifest more money, you're never gonna get it. You're just gonna get these things. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be trying to save and shit. You're gonna get hit with a bill, and it's gonna take all your money, take all your savings. You're gonna be like, damn, I forgot about this shit. Damn, there I go again. Pain, scarce, problems. But in reality, what we have to do is dissolve this pain, dissolve the negative emotional experience and observation that we had as children, you know, and young adults. The way to dissolve this pain is to, I'm not even gonna write this down. The way to dissolve this pain, so if you have this money problem, where it's like, you didn't notice until now, but low key, everything that you've talked about in childhood about money or you've observed about money was always, we don't have enough, we can't afford this, we need more, scarcity, lack. If that was you, this is what I want you to do. Sit down, get into a theta state, so like a meditative state. Breathe, slow down your breathing, slow down your mind. Think about those times when you were younger, when you couldn't get those shoes, you couldn't get this. Mom and dad, they arguing about money. They break up over money, divorce over money, like little stuff like this. Think about those times and imagine, man, how do I feel right now? Do I feel scared? Do I feel like money is evil? Do I feel like there's always problems around money? Let those emotions flow through you. And then visualize how you would have wanted that situation to go. So while you're meditating, use your imagination, which is how you're supposed to use our imagination anyways. Use your imagination to think about how you would have liked the situation to go. Instead of your mother saying, oh, we can't get that, we don't have enough. Imagine her saying, we have more than enough. Imagine your mother and father getting along when it comes to money. They say, oh man, I love you, we have so much money. Imagine all that pain and reverse it into abundance, love, peace, joy when it comes to money. And do this exercise. I'm not saying you got to meditate on money now. Look, I'm just saying whatever trauma that you have, whatever negative emotions you have, meditate on it and change the situation to make it go how you would have wanted it to go. That's how you dissolve the pain. That's how you dissolve the trauma. So you no longer attach negativity with anything in your past, with anything. Let it go because the body holds on to it. The body holds on to it. So for those who want more money this year, 2026, I advise you to do this work. I advise you to do the shadow work to really see, what are my beliefs behind this thing? And for the women, what are my beliefs behind love? You know, you say you want love, but if you've only experienced from your mother and father separation, control, dominance, toxicity, then that's your idea of love. You don't know what love is. You have to go back into your childhood, think about the emotions you felt, and try to change that in a way to where you would have liked it to go on, so that you can dissolve all that emotional pain that's within. I'm not saying you gotta just like forget about the past. No, it's just you have to let the body feel what it feels and just let it go. That's the way you let it go. So, mhm. All right. So now that we understand trauma and we understand how to dissolve our trauma and how to refresh our body, our nervous system, etc. Now that we have all that clear, now the real challenge is when the shit comes back up again, how do you react? This kind of goes back to the identity loops, but remember, triggers are more than just like emotional loops, day-to-day loops. These come from trauma. So this can be tough when it comes to overriding your traumas in real time. It can be tough, I'm not gonna lie. But the way to overcome these triggers is through awareness. Shit. So you did the work, you updated the idea of money, you updated the idea of love, you updated the idea of family, you did the pain, the deep work. Sometimes trauma can be more intense and more complex than I'm stating right now. But you do all of that work, and there's still some fighting that you have to do, because day-to-day life always throws some bullshit at you. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's always some bullshit. So the way to overcome triggers is being aware. Awareness is basically elevating at a level high enough to see the big picture. You're not stuck in the weeds. Somebody tell you, oh man, you ain't shit, and you grew up with your mom telling you ain't gonna be shit, this and that. That might be a trigger. That might be some trauma that you had to overcome, and that might be a trigger in real time that you have to just breathe through, be aware of, and see that it's just a trigger. Let me not let this thing take control. So when you become aware, you begin to see. It's like, oh shit. You just open up the Renegon. You can see exactly where this shit is coming from. And then you can just snipe it down in real time without overreacting emotionally. So the way to get through the triggers is through awareness. And how do we achieve awareness? This is what I said previously. Meditation, prayer. This is how you achieve awareness, and awareness is how you overcome triggers. And once you overcome triggers, you break your identity loops, you heal from your traumas, and you can be on the path to becoming your greatest self. Now you open up your life for blessings. This is how blessings are created. You let go of the trauma. You rise above triggers and day-to-day emotional loops. And you take control of your life. And you become a blessed, lucky individual. All right. So now we know how to rise above triggers. It just takes a degree of awareness, a degree of slowing down, meditation, and prayer. So, one thing I really need you to do is after this video, sit down, meditate on the things that disturb your reality, and pray on the things that may cause you to fall back into these emotional loops. Really get deep within yourself. Pause. And do this work so that you won't be succumbed to triggers, emotional loops. This is the lowest of the low when it comes to reality creation. If you can't get over loops, emotional challenges, how do you expect to be great? How do you expect to reach that next level if you can't control your own emotions? So, emotional control is mastery, and we do that through meditation, prayer, and awareness. I hope this helped you understand where you may be lacking in your journey of reality creation, and I wish the best for you for the entire year. I wish that you achieve all your goals and do all that you want to do this year. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.